Can someone give me a 5 by 5? Okay, we have an echo going on here, and I don't know why. Let me see this. Okay, I hope this is better. An echo going on here, and I don't know why. Let me see this. Okay, I hope this is better. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Take care of it. Just take care of it now. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Hello. Hello. How is this doing? How is this doing? How is this doing? How is this doing? Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Test test test. Test test test. Testing 1 2 3. Test test test. Okay, I think we have it now. Test test test. Do you have us now? Okay, I think we have it now. Can someone give me a 5 by 5? Okay, is this any better now? We should not have an echo now. I apologize for this. I have no clue why we're getting this echo, or why ever since we tried getting on the air this morning, we had problems. Folks, this is Ron Tyler with the Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to talk to you about the earthquake in Japan. I'm going to start over and talk to you about what happened this morning. Okay, this was a big deal. It came out as a 7.8 magnitude earthquake. USGS downgraded it to a 7.5. The Japanese agency NKO has it as a 7.6. There have been many aftershocks since that earthquake happened. A lot of aftershocks. So far, we've probably had 200 earthquake aftershocks since this happened. Okay? This is ongoing. These earthquakes are going to be ongoing for a long, long time. This was a thrust fault incident. A thrust fault incident. This is not a mega thrust as we are expecting in the Cascadia region. Okay? This is a thrust fault over here in Japan. This is a very dangerous earthquake. Now, with that said, any earthquake can be a foreshock of a larger quake. I don't think that's going to happen, however. Any earthquake has a 25% chance of being a foreshock of a larger quake. I think this is it. We have had earthquakes in this same region here in western Japan for the past month and a half. We've had 5.0s. We've had a 6.5 here. Okay? This is a very, very strong earthquake. I've got some footage here that I want to show you from ABC News. Watch this. This is from NBC News in Los Angeles.
Hit the country's west coast. Now, local media is reporting that they died in building collapses. Those quakes, they also triggered widespread tsunami warnings, sparked power outages, and buckled major roads. Officials are scrambling right now to help tens of thousands of people who are being forced to evacuate as temperatures now drop into the low 30s. NBC News foreign correspondent Megan Fitzgerald joins us with the latest. Megan, if you can, just sort of walk us through from the beginning everything that we do know about what happened and what officials are telling people to do right now to just prepare for what's still coming.
Yeah, well, Morgan, we know that this is one of the most significant earthquakes that the western coast of Japan has seen in years. And as you mentioned, major TV network in Japan, NTV, now reporting that 3 people have died, one of them dying after being trapped under the rubble. And that continues to be the focus at this hour, as officials say there are multiple reports of people trapped under collapsed buildings and collapsed homes. Roads have buckled, as you mentioned. They're cracked in other places, making them impassable. So the prime minister, who has personally said he will be heading the nation's disaster relief, has said that supplies will now come in on boats because at this point, that's the only way. He has activated the military to come in and help as tens of thousands of people are now without power. Shelters have been put in place because, Morgan, temperatures in that region are near freezing.
Yeah, Megan, you mentioned the military activation. I know that this triggered the first major tsunami warning since the 2011 Fukushima disaster. And that was when an 8.9 magnitude quake wiped out parts of a nuclear plant there. And it spilled radioactive waste all in that sort of surrounding area. So how are the nuclear plants now holding up this time?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's a great question. Those nuclear plants are a major concern. Right now, government officials say nuclear plants in the area have not seen any irregularities, but you can bet that they are keeping a close eye on those plants, certainly given what we saw in 2011. But at this point, there's no reason to be concerned.
Okay.
Morgan?
That's some good news here. Silver lining, NBC News foreign
Okay, can I get a 5x5? I'm sorry. Can I get a 5x5? I'm so sorry that happened again. Okay, thanks, Demon Catman. We appreciate you. I don't know why that happened. I just don't know. This is stupid. Anyway, let me start over here. I want to tell you what happened here. Okay? I told you this earlier this morning. I'm going to repeat some of this now. Japan issued several tsunami warnings for the west coast after a 7.8 magnitude earthquake hit here this morning. It hit at 4:10 p.m. time. It was 2:10 Eastern time here in the United States. The warnings apply to Ishikawa, Niigata, and Toyama prefectures. The warnings were for 3 of its west coast central prefectures and a series of earthquakes in the Sea of Japan, which preliminary magnitude was a 7.6. Okay, a tsunami that was confirmed was 1.2 meters high. That arrived in Wajima City and Ishikawa Prefecture. The Japanese public broadcaster NHK warned torrents of water could reach as high as 5 meters. 5 meters. Okay? 11 significant tremors struck between 4:06 a.m. and 4:48 p.m., with the strongest ones at 7.6 on the Japanese seismic scale. That was recorded at 4:10 p.m. Japanese time off the Noto Peninsula in Ishikawa Prefecture. Buildings shook over in Tokyo, some 190 miles, 300 kilometers away in Tokyo. NHK also issued warnings ongoing and urging people to evacuate quickly to higher ground and beware of aftershocks and further tsunami action. A government spokesperson, Hayashi Hoshimasa, said in an emergency press conference this morning that authorities were still checking the extent of the damage and warned residents to prepare for further earthquakes. 3 people have been killed. It's been confirmed. 3 people have been killed since this earthquake happened. One of those that was killed in a collapse of a building. Footage that was aired by the NHK network to show buildings collapsing in Ishikawa. More than 36,000 households have lost power in Ishikawa and Toyama prefectures, according to utility provider Hokuriku Electric Power. Earthquakes that strike off the coast in the Sea of Japan are also known to cause tsunami waves, which can reach shore within a 10-minute time period, and that's what happened. If you remember, after the magnitude 9 earthquake that hit off the west coast of Japan at Fukushima area, it triggered a tsunami that took 30 minutes before it hit the coastline. Japan's Regulation Authority said that they have no irregularities that have been reported at nuclear power plants along the Sea of Japan, including 5 active reactors at the Kansai Electric Power's Ohi and Takahama plants. In Fuki Prefecture, Hokuruku's Shika plant in Ishikawa was the closest to the quake's location. The operation at that particular nuclear power plant, they had shut down the power plant for a regular inspection. So that power plant was totally shut down. So they have no problem with that power plant or any of the others at this time. Earthquakes are continuing to pound the area. Aftershocks. Some of them as strong as a 6.5 earthquake. Japan is a quake-prone nation anyway. A huge earthquake and tsunami that struck in northeastern Japan on March 11, 2011, killed 18,000 people. The disaster then devastated towns and triggered nuclear meltdown at Fukushima. Nearly all of Japan's nuclear plants have been mothballed since that disaster. Now, they still have fires ongoing. You saw a fire on that report from NBC News. Fires are ongoing. The natural gas area mains were broken. Water mains have also been broken. We will give you further updates about the Japanese quake as more information comes in, as it will. Now, I also want to tell you about another earthquake that happened in Southern California. This is breaking news out of KCAL in Los Angeles. Breaking news out of KCAL in Los Angeles. I want you to see this.
Get back to that breaking news. An earthquake south of Rancho Palos Verdes. It is a 4.1 magnitude now. It's gone back and forth between 3.9, 4.1. As we get more information, we're hearing that people felt it for a large geographic region. We're taking a look at the activity right now about that. And Paul, are you hearing anything else?
2,895 people have responded to the USGS, likely through the app that Tina was talking about a couple minutes ago. Did you feel it? What was the intensity? The intensity was weak or light everywhere. That's what we want to hear. We don't want damage. But it was felt now as far north as Lancaster, over the San Gabriels, into the Antelope Valley. It was felt as far north and east as San Bernardino and Temecula. And now it was felt as far south as La Jolla in San Diego County and as far north as Oxnard. So the entire Southern California region felt this. More than 3,000 people responding to this 4.1 earthquake. Back to you.
Wow. All right. We want to head now to Jessica Turner. She is a geophysicist with the USGS. Thank you so much for joining us right now. Tell us what you know about this and put in perspective for us whether you expect more activity.
Oh, yeah. So, as was said already, there was a magnitude 4.1 earthquake that occurred just before 8:30 California time today, and like it was said, it was pretty widely felt in the Southern California area. This area of California, as much of the rest of the state, does see a lot of earthquakes from time to time. I did a quick search of magnitude 4 and above earthquakes in about a 60-mile radius of today's earthquake, and there have been over 300 earthquakes with magnitude 4 and above in this area since 1900. So this isn't unfamiliar. I always try to remind people, if you do feel an earthquake, just make sure to look around you, make sure things are bolted to the wall, nothing will fall on you with really intense shaking. We probably won't see, we will see probably some smaller aftershocks with this earthquake. We do not know if it will lead to a bigger earthquake. That's just something that we cannot predict, but California especially is very prepared for earthquakes.
And tell us, overnight that we heard of a major earthquake in Japan, 7.5 there. Could there be any connection between this activity?
There's probably not connection, but like direct connection. But both of these earthquakes are very close to the Ring of Fire. So, I mean, you know, we have that Pacific plate kind of moving at the different ends of the Pacific Ocean, but they're not directly related. They're too far apart for that to have been the case.
When you say there could be more activity or possibly a bigger quake coming, that's not to be alarmist, it's just talking about the scientific phenomenon. What is the time frame typically? When can we maybe consider ourselves in the clear?
I think after maybe a couple of days. But again, it could be like a week or two later. We've seen that before with the Tohoku in Japan earthquake in 2011. There was like a 7.2 or magnitude 7 earthquake, like maybe a week or two before the 9.0 earthquake occurred. So, I mean, it just depends. Again, California is very prepared for large earthquakes. So, yeah, I would continue to tell Californians to just do it.
Okay, that is the Ring of Fire that you're looking at now. They put this map up. She said that the earthquake in Palos Verdes was close to the ring of fire. No, it's not close, it's at. It's on the ring of fire. The ring of fire extends all the way south to the Antarctic ridge. It goes up along the South American coast of Chile, Peru, Ecuador, and Colombia, and up through Central America and up into North America and over around the Aleutian Island area, including Alaska, and comes back down the Kamchatka Peninsula on the west side of the North Pacific and comes down over to Japan and down into Taiwan, Philippines, and Indonesia. That is the entirety, and the Pacific Islands of the South Pacific. That is the entirety of the Ring of Fire. Why do they call it Ring of Fire? Because, folks, that Ring of Fire encompasses volcanoes. That's why it's called the Ring of Fire. Let's continue.
What they're doing, you guys are the experts in this.
And Jessica, I actually have the MyShake app on my phone. It did give me an alert. How are we doing when it comes to early warning? Did you on your end hear or see anything before we actually felt the shaking?
Yes, so the early warning system did alert us about 2 minutes after the earthquake occurred. That's, of course, that doesn't give you a lot of time before the shaking comes, depending on where you are. So those people who were right near the earthquake maybe had 30 seconds, a minute to prepare for shaking, whereas the further out you go, you'll have a little longer to prepare for less intense shaking.
And this might be a good time just to remind everyone what to do if they feel an earthquake and what to do to prepare for an earthquake.
Right. So like I said before, definitely make sure to look around you in your home or your office building or wherever you may be. Just picture everything that you have up on the walls, like shelves, or if you have a large bookcase or large paintings. I mean, just look at your area to see if shaking would knock it off the wall and hit you in the head. We definitely want to protect our head when there's intense shaking going on. And then I would also say find a large desk, preferably a large wooden desk to kind of get underneath. And again, cover your head because you just want to protect that so that if injuries do occur, you'll be, of sound mind to kind of get yourself to safety. If you don't have a large desk to get under, I always tell people to go to their bedroom. If you have a headboard, just kind of get close to that headboard and hold on.
Well, it's always a good reminder when we have these to kind of look around our homes, have those conversations with our family members, so everybody kind of has that plan of what they do if there is another one and if there was a bigger one.
Okay, that's as far as I want to go with this one, this report. She said that the proper thing to do during an earthquake is to get underneath a table, a sturdy table, and or a desk. Then she made a mistake, and I want to clarify that. A headboard won't protect you. A headboard is just a thin piece of wood, and sometimes it's just a laminate piece of wood. That headboard won't protect you. There was a cause of thought many years ago that you could lay down next to your couch, your sofa, whatever you want to call it, or get down in a crouched position in front of a refrigerator. That is out the door. They used to talk also about getting in a doorway. That is also out the door. Don't do that. The doorway can collapse on top of you. In order to stand in the doorway, the door has to be open, doesn't it? Absolutely. And the doorway could collapse on top of you. There was a train of thought before that the great big header, the piece of wood that is above the door, would protect you. That is not the case. The best way to do it is get underneath a table. Or, if you have a bed, pull the mattress over the top of you. That way anything falling would fall on top of the mattress. Hopefully nothing major would fall on you, because the mattress would only offer you some protection but not all protection. Okay? Don't do anything you think it's even close to getting killed. Some people have said go into your bathroom and get in the tub and pull a mattress over the top of you. I concur with that. If you don't have a table or a desk to get under, go into your bathroom, get in the tub and pull a mattress over the top of you. At least the tub will help protect you. Now, if you get underneath a table or a desk, the instruction that they're giving us now is duck underneath the desk. Duck, completely cover your body with that desk or the table, and hold on to the legs. Hold on to the legs of that desk or table. That way, the table or desk won't migrate when the shaking is going on, and the table won't move. If the table moves and you're not holding onto the legs, your body will still not have much protection from anything that's going to fall onto the table or the desk from above. That's what we want you to do. Okay? That's what we want you to do during an earthquake, a major earthquake. And a major earthquake could be a large 5.0 or a 5.5 or a very strong 6.0, 6.9. Those earthquakes can do major damage. Those earthquakes can do major damage. We've seen it happen before throughout our history. We want to protect you. That's why we're talking about this. Okay? Margot says, no see me, no sound. Go out and come back in is what Demon Catman said, because we do have sound here. I'm sorry earlier when we had squealing going on, I actually thought everything was fine. And apparently it still wasn't. Something happened this morning when we first tried to get on the air this morning, and we had microphone issues. Now I've got it restored, at least for now, and I will be working on this 24 hours or so. Now, with the earthquake, again, there was a major 7.6, 7.8 earthquake off the west coast of Japan. Now, with that said, that's not the only thing that you guys need to know. This is the helioplot that we found right after the earthquake happened. The earth is still shaking right now. It's been over 12 hours. That's why I wanted to come on the air now. It's been over 12 hours since the earthquake first hit. The earth is still shaking. This helioplot came from Spitsbergen, Norway, on the other side of the earth. Spitsbergen, Norway. Now, I want to show you some others here as well. I want to show you Hockley, Texas. Okay, this is the helioplot from Hockley, Texas. You see here the primary waves, those large, long vertical waves here. Those are the primary waves. The other shaking was other aftershocks that happened. The earth is still shaking. We won't have anything probably 7 or 8 p.m. tonight about how strong this earthquake is. However, I'm going to tell you right now, I believe this earthquake was at least an 8.0, 8.5 earthquake. That's what I believe it was. Over here, this particular helioplot came from Incheon, Korea. This is the closest helioplot that I can find this morning. Incheon, Korea, on the western side of the Sea of Japan. Look at the primary vertical waves here. Look at all the waves together. Shake one quake after another shaking. It wasn't just one primary wave shaking and it was over. That's not what happened. As you can see, each line here represents about an hour of time. Each line here represents about an hour of time. So you can see how long the earth shook. during the original shaking. This was big. This was big, guys. Now, I might be coming back on the air tonight to give you an update of the shaking that happened in Japan and what's going on. I want to show you this because I thought it was very important. I still do. I still think it's very important for everybody to understand what happened here. Rob 52 is talking about a minor 2.2 earthquake that just hit in Ventura, California. Ventura is north of the shaking that happened in Palos Verdes. It's not far, but it is north of Palos Verdes. A 2.2 minor earthquake has happened in Ventura County, California. JB Map says, hi Ron, that last stream there was some volume, but it was super low. When I maxed out my volume, I was able to hear you, but for very low volume. Happy New Year to the entire EMA family. Thank you, JB Maps. We appreciate that. Anyway, there's more news than this, okay? I want to tell you what's happened. Yesterday, there was a it was not a 9. It was an X5 class flare. An X class flare is one of the most dangerous solar flares that has left the sun. We've had X1s before. We even had an X2. This was an X5 class flare. Earlier today, I labeled this as a 9.5. It was not. This was an X5 class solar flare. Look where it came from. This is over on the western terminator side of the sun, the western edge of the sun. Folks, this sunspot that released this flare, folks, this is going to be Earth facing within the next couple days. This was an X5 class flare. It's very possible that this flare will be Earth facing, like I said, and it could erupt again. We don't know exactly, but we believe it could erupt again. Now, when it erupted yesterday, the plasma energy that we talked about before, the plasma energy reached the Earth almost immediately. The rest of the plasma energy will arrive at the Earth probably either tomorrow or by the latest Wednesday. When this energy hits the Earth, it heats up the plates. The plasma energy is radiation. It heats up the plates. Now, I want to show you something. Let's use my hands, right? My right hand here is the North American plate. My left hand here would represent the Cascadia subduction zone. Okay? What is happening? The North American plate has the Pacific plate subducting underneath the North American plate, just like this. The Pacific plate is subducting and taking a deep dive under the North American plate. When the plasma radiation heats the plates, all that biological material, all that sand, all that gunk is heated up, right? When it's heated up, it turns into a greasy, oily substance, and it allows the plates to move more freely. I believe that's what happened in Japan today. That greasy, gunky substance heated up and turned into an oil kind of thing and allowed the plates to move. It allowed the plates to move. That's what's happening on the North American continent. It's happening all over the world. Okay? The majority of the plasma energy will reach the Earth tomorrow or by the latest Wednesday. This could cause further earthquakes. I'm giving everybody heads up right now. This can cause further earthquakes in Japan and all over the world. Everybody needs to be aware of it. Everybody needs to have their preparations ready. And I don't really care what part of the world you're in. You need to be prepared. Any of these earthquakes that could strike at any time. And you need to be ready when it happens. Now, this is ongoing. Okay? This has always been ongoing. I'm giving everybody a heads up. I don't want to see anybody injured, and I know that's what's going to happen. I don't want to see anybody killed. That also happens. But if we give you a heads up, maybe there is a chance to save lives. To save lives. We are expecting a Cascadia megathrust earthquake in the Pacific Northwest. It's going to be a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake. There's already been minor and small earthquakes hitting in the Cascadia subduction zone region from central West Canada all the way down to Northern California. We've seen it. We've even seen a 4.5 down in the San Francisco Bay Area at the San Francisco airport. So the seismic energy is out there. It's a matter of time when that seismic energy ramps up and a bigger earthquake is going to hit. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I can guarantee it. It's going to happen. It's all about us being prepared for what's going to happen. Now, I've told you before that the agency doesn't want us to know what's going on. They continue to downgrade the quakes. They continue not reporting the earthquakes. We've seen it time and time and time again. I'm not going to put the agency down, and I'm not going to do it as frequently as I have in the past. I think I've made my point. But the point here is preparation. Preparation. We can be ready. Okay? That's my whole point tonight. We can be ready. Now, with what I've already said, I want to talk about some earthquakes and some volcanoes. First off, I want to talk about San Dieguito volcano over in Guatemala. I want to talk about a bunch of others. Before I get into the Fuego volcano and San Dieguito volcano in Guatemala, I want to the USGS map. Let me do this real quick here. Just a second. Okay, the agency is still not showing all the other earthquakes on the eastern side of Japan. They're showing one earthquake over here in the Kuril Islands north of Hokkaido. This is a 4.5 earthquake. This is also 35 kilometers deep. Over here is Kamchatka Peninsula. This is Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia. It belongs to Russia. Just south of the Kamchatka Peninsula is another volcano. It's called Ebeco volcano. We'll be talking about that volcano in just a few minutes. But I wanted to tell you about these volcanoes. Klyuchevskoye volcano is on the Kamchatka Peninsula. Explosive volcanic activities continuing at Klyuchevskoye volcano. Today, a volcanic ash plume at Klyuchevskoye rose up to 23,000 feet high today, 7,000 meters in altitude. Flight level 230. Flight level 230. As I stated just a few minutes ago, South Kamchatka. Ebeco volcano has been erupting off and on. Today, Abaco volcano erupted up to 10,000 feet high. 10,000 feet high. Okay, let's jump down here to Japan. This earthquake here was not the only activity here in Japan. Sakurajima, south of this earthquake, in Kyushu province of Japan. Explosive activity is continuing at Sakurajima. The Volcanic Ash Advisory Center said this morning that an ash plume rose up to 7,000 feet high, 2,100 meters high altitude, flight level 070. Then south of there, in the Ryukyu Islands south of Japan, another volcano is just off the southern coast. It's called Suwanisejima, Japan. It's an island there. That volcano also erupted up to 8,000 feet high. Flight level 080. Then, I want to go over to central Japan. Notice that the agency is not reporting anything over here in Indonesia. Not reporting much of anything. They're reporting this earthquake here in Gorontalo, Indonesia. This is a 5.4 large earthquake. This is also 87 kilometers deep. Okay? Just east of there is an island called Halmahera, Indonesia. Halmahera, Indonesia. There's two volcanoes there. Dukono. Dukono volcano has been erupted almost continuously since 1933. At about 6:50 a.m. this morning, a volcanic-style eruption generated a gray ash column spewing ash emissions up to 3 kilometers high. The ash plume dissipated to the southwest of the volcano. Again, Dukono volcano has been erupting for a long time. Yesterday's eruption was up to 7,000 feet. This today was 3 kilometers high. Okay? The other volcanoes over there in Halmahera, Indonesia is also Mount Ibu. Mount Ibu has also been erupting. The explosive activity is continuing. There was an eruption today up to 10,000 feet, 3,000 meters high. Flight level 100. There's also another volcano in the island of Flores. It's called Luotobi. Luotobi is a twin volcano there. Explosive activity is continuing there. An ash advisory was issued this morning because there was an eruption up to 8,000 feet high, 2,400 meters in altitude, flight level 080. Over in eastern Java, Indonesia, eastern Java, there was also another volcano there. Semeru volcano over here in eastern Java. It's been erupting. It erupted up to 15,000 feet today, 4,600 meters high, flight level 150. Now, let's take a trip over to the eastern side of the Pacific. Let's take a trip over here. Okay? I'm going to start over here in southeastern Mexico. Southeastern Mexico. You all have probably heard me talking about Popocatépetl volcano, or what they've issued a nickname of Little Popo. Popocatépetl also erupted up to 24,000 feet high, 6,700 meters high, flight level 220. South of there, in Guatemala, there's another volcano. There's several volcanoes. There are actually 3 volcanoes in Guatemala. 2 of them are erupting. San Benito volcano in Guatemala. Big time. It erupted up to 15,000 feet high, 4,600 meters high altitude, or flight level 150. Fuego volcano, fire volcano, had explosive activity and it's continuing. The volcanic ash plume today rose up to 15,000 feet high, 4,000 with a flight level of 150. Now, let's go over to Northern Colombia. Okay? Northern Colombia, South America. Nevado del Ruiz is one of the latest volcanoes that's been erupting. It erupts quite frequently in Colombia. Today, a volcanic ash plume there rose up to 22,000 feet high, 6,700 meters high, flight level 220. Down south of there in Ecuador, right about in here, there's 2 volcanoes here. There's Sangay volcano and there's Reventador volcano. Both volcanoes are very active. Reventador volcano had an ash plume up to 14,000 feet high, 4,300 meters high, flight level 140. Sangay volcano today has become less active, so we have no reports from Sangay volcano, and we don't have anything from down in Peru with Sabancaya volcano. Usually Sabancaya volcano has also been erupting quite frequently, but right now we have no reports from Peru. There are several volcanoes down in Chile. We don't have any reports of them activating today. Now, with that said, we expect more activity up north. Today, earlier today, we mentioned a volcano, 2 of them, up here in southwestern Alaska. Right up here in southwestern Alaska. Sitkin volcano and Wardell volcano have been showing activity of possibly going to erupt. Scientists are watching them. The Alaska Volcano Observatory has issued warnings after warnings, and now they have cut back because the earthquakes and tremors that were hitting Sitkin and Wardell has calmed down. But they're still watching Wardell and Sitkin volcano for possible eruption. There's been other volcanoes over here in Alaska that have erupted in the past. Over here in Alaska here, we have Mount Redoubt. Mount Redoubt is not erupting right now. It has erupted in this past year, 2020. Further south, down here, this is Old Ililama volcano. Old Ililama volcano has been steaming. It has had many tremors and minor earthquakes here. Again, the agency is no longer showing activity here. They're not wanting people to know what's going on. But I'm telling you, it has happened and it probably is still continuing, regardless of what the agency wants to tell us. Further south, we have volcanoes all over this peninsula of Alaska. These volcanoes continue to erupt off and on. Right now we have no reports of them erupting. I will delve deeper into the volcanoes here in the peninsula and give you an update of what's going on here in the Aleutian Islands. You see one earthquake here in the Aleutian Islands. This is near Akutan, Alaska. Folks, this is south of Akutan. east-southeast of Akutan. This is a 4.2 magnitude earthquake, just a moderate earthquake here in the Aleutian Islands today. You see, we don't have any other earthquakes right now in the Aleutian Islands. Now, with what has happened over here in Japan, we further expect this seismic energy to rapidly move up the western side of the Pacific, possibly with larger earthquakes here in the Kuril Islands and on the eastern side of the Kamchatka Peninsula. And after this seismic energy hits this area, it's going to rapidly move over here into the Aleutian Island area. This is major seismic energy. Major seismic energy. We will be watching very carefully what happens here. Okay? With the flares that are going on from the sun that we talked about, those flares could provoke more earthquakes. They often do. With what is going on here in Japan, we know the energy is existing right now. We know for a fact what's going on. This energy is going to continue to move. As you can see, it's moved north away from the Ishikawa area. However, it's still there. It's gradually moving north. This area is going to continue to shake for some time. There will be aftershocks for weeks, possibly months or longer. This was not a 9.0 earthquake. I believe this was an 8.0, 8.5 earthquake, regardless of what the agency wants to say. I will have more information either later tonight or tomorrow about this earthquake that hit on the western side of the Sea of Japan. There were tsunamis here in Japan. There were also tsunamis that reached the east coast of Korea and Russia today. Okay? Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any questions that I can answer for you? I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Rob 52 says a 4.5 earthquake hit in Puerto Trinidad, El Salvador. Yes, that often happens there. That happens quite frequently in that area. Linda Covington says she missed New Year's Eve completely. I didn't miss it. I was awake until midnight, went to bed, and then I got woken up at 2 o'clock this morning. And that's fine. That's not a problem. Linda Covington says, can you wake me up? I wish. Demon Catman says that flare definitely will if it isn't already for sure. Yes, that flare can cause more earthquakes than it probably already has. And it will continue. It will continue. That sunspot is very active and it will be shortly earth facing. And if that sunspot erupts earth facing, we will have problems. We will have problems, especially if it pops out another X-class flare. Grace for purposes 2 M-class flares along with the X-pop from what she sees. That's not surprising. It's not surprising at all. Anything else from you, from all of you here that are watching this program? Those of you who are watching, I want to ask you all to give us a thumbs up. The thumbs up only makes it easier for YouTube to recognize that you guys are watching this program, and what you're watching is very important. YouTube uses the thumbs up algorithm to allow other people on YouTube to see the program. There's quite a few things that go into that algorithm. One, the number of people that are watching. Number two, the amount of time that you're watching the program. If you're here for only 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, it's not going to do you any good either. if you want to watch this program and have full benefit from everything we're giving out to you, you have to be here for a while, not just 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 5 or 10 minutes. Our average view is about 24 minutes. We want to get that up even higher. 24 minutes is good, but I would love to see it higher. Okay? The time element that you're watching, that goes into this algorithm as well. And it's not just that, there's more. Okay? The number of viewers. Now, after we get off this channel today, we finish the broadcast, the agency or the YouTube will show very few people even watch this broadcast. But if I go into the algorithm, it'll show hundreds of people that watch this broadcast. They lie about that. Okay? They always do. But I'm telling you guys, all these things are very important. We love you very much. That's why we're here. Okay? Yesterday was New Year's Eve. I want to wish you all a very happy New Year. A very happy and prosperous New Year. This shows a fireplace and a fire inside the fireplace. This is one of my favorite things. I don't have a fireplace. I wish I did. But if I did, I would have a fire in the fireplace right now. I love fireplaces. This is just an example of something that we picked out that I wanted to show. I want you all to know how much we care about you. That's why we're on the air. We want to let you know that we're here for you. I don't do this for me. If I did it for me, I'd be wasting my time, because I already know what's going on. But I do this for everybody else, so you can plan for the activities that you're going to need to do to protect yourself in the event of a major event in your life. The event could be an earthquake. The event could be a major storm. We cover storms. We cover huge tornadoes that have hit. We are covering the storms as they go across the United States. I'm just going to give you a heads up. We have heavy storms on the west coast of the United States, just for kicks and giggles. Okay? Heavy storms. Those storms are making their way across the United States as we speak. There's been heavy rain in the Pacific Northwest. Some of it's turned to snow as well. Heavy rain down in California, and major wave activity. Huge waves, 12, 15 feet high. Warnings were issued by the Weather Service for people to stay out of the water. Has that happened? People have actually gotten towed out of the water by rescue teams and the Coast Guard. They've gotten hurt when they've tried to be out there surfing in 12 to 15 foot waves. Folks, when I was a cop, and even before that, I did a lot of surfing since I was 16 years old in San Diego. When I was in my mid-30s, I was with my brother and some friends surfing in Encinitas, California. There was a 12-foot wave, and I saw it building. I saw it building big time. And as I saw that wave building, I thought, oh crap. I had to ditch my surfboard because I didn't want my surfboard to be beating me up. So I ripped the Velcro from off my ankle. Then I dove into the wave. That wave flipped me end over end over end and slammed me on the beach. It knocked the air out of my lungs. I was gurgling on the beach. People ran over and pulled me up off the water, out of the water. They probably saved my life. That was a 12-foot wave. I know what 12-foot waves are like. Those are things that are still going on in Southern California. You need to stay out of the water, guys. And I was a surfer. At one point in time, before I left San Diego, I said that I would never leave San Diego because I love the beaches. And I did love to surf. But the 2 years prior to me moving away from San Diego, I hardly saw the beaches because I was so busy working in my career. We were shorthanded and I was always working. At that point in time, I said, that's it. I'm going to leave San Diego, and that's what I did. There were a lot of reasons. High prices, the taxes were going nuts, so I left. I went to Denver. Yes, I was further away from the water in Denver. I had lakes that I used to fish in and do things in the lakes. When I was in San Diego, we fished offshore. We took half-day boats offshore. I still fish, okay? But just to give you an idea, this storm activity that was on the West Coast, from California up into Canada and Washington and Oregon, all that storm activity is moving east. Idaho, Utah, Colorado, Montana, Wyoming, and into the central United States. That energy is going to continue to move. We also have energy coming out of central Canada. That's going to meet with the energy from the west, and also energy coming from the Gulf of Mexico. It's going to be bad. Bad. Major winter storms, heavy rain on the southern part of the United States, and major winter storms up north. Those winter storms are probably going to hit in the eastern Atlantic, in the eastern Atlantic states, probably going to hit by this weekend. Some of that storm is going to hit here in North Carolina. We may get some rain. We're going to get colder temperatures. Today we didn't get out of 42-degree temperatures at all. It's going to get down into the teens tonight. It's going to be in the teens and 20s throughout the central United States and up into the Northeast. You need to be prepared for the cold. You need to be prepared for the winter, the snow, the heavy snow. It's coming. Okay? Grace for purposes, the only cruise I took was 15 to 20-foot waves rocking the cruise liner. I'm ground now since. I wouldn't blame you. I took a cruise with a friend of mine when I was in San Diego. We only had 5-foot waves, and the cruise liner was bucking those waves as it was. Anyway, guys, do you have any other questions? You need to be prepared for that weather. Hurricane Heather's keeping me apprised of what's going on, and I will pass that information on to you as we go through the rest of this week. I'm here now at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be getting out of here if you guys don't have any more questions. I just want to make sure you have that information before we got out of here tonight. I love you guys very much. You guys are why I do this. You guys are my family, and I love each and every one of you for that. Anyway, I hope you have a good night and a better tomorrow. If anything major happens tonight, we will be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. I want to promise you that right now. I will be monitoring what's going on in Japan tonight. I'm not going to just give it up. I will come up with a final determination of how strong that earthquake really was. Whether it was a 7.8, an 8.4, or 8.4, 8.5, like I think it is, or whatever it is, I will give you that information at least at the latest tomorrow. I hope you have a great night and a better tomorrow. Enjoy your day. Be safe. Drive carefully on the roads out there. I don't care whether you're in England or whether you're here in the United States or down in Australia. Be safe wherever you're at. You people over in Japan, take care of each other, love each other, help each other if you've been displaced from that earthquake. Whatever you do, be safe. Don't let anything get to you. It's not worth it. Have a good night, folks. We will talk at you later. Enjoy yourselves. God bless you. have fun. We will see you on the other side. Good night, everybody.